We are Steve and Jill.
Together, we've been buying and reselling land since the 90s.
Our data-centric approach leaves our buyers asking, how can you sell it so cheap?
Here on the Land Academy Show,
We answer that and more. I'm Stephen Jagpies-Heller.
and I'm Jill DeWit, and this is the Land Academy Show.
This is episode number 2055. Today we are talking about case study number 2. We're doing 5 case studies this week. Case study number 2 is about a professional Canadian couple that flip at least 5 properties per month with us. And we'll take a look at what is it about them that makes them successful. I know what it is already.
Well, they do now. It wasn't always that way. little ramp up time. So I want everybody to know, well, if I don't do that, am I not normal? No, you're fine. If you don't get to that right away, that's okay. That could take some time. And we'll explain how they got there.
All week this week, we're going to take a look at 5 case studies. If you haven't checked it out, check the one out yesterday on Monday. Case study number 1. Each day on the show, we answer a question from our Land Academy member Discord forum, and we take a deep dive into our land-related topics by popular request.
Okay. Caesar wrote, when trolling a city or a specific zip code, what is the minimum number of vacant properties currently for sale in my target, along with the corresponding recently sold, like in the last 12 months, that I'd want to see before mailing to that city/zip code? Like 10 active for sale and 20 sold in the last 12 months? Less than that? More than that? Where's the cutoff? I'll explain trolling first.
Sure.
Okay.
This is a real popular question, which is why I included it. In our process of buying and selling land, we accumulate data to make decisions. So these are all data-driven decisions in our business. There's no dartboards. We don't guess. And one of the first things that we do is open up Zillow or openrealtor.com and kind of put in the parameters that we want. I want to see vacant properties that are in a healthy manner selling with a profile between $30,000 and $60,000 or whatever. And we set that profile in what we call an equity planner, which we provide to our members. And I don't want to go into too much detail, but the middle process is to profile a piece of property that the data tells you will sell very quickly based on properties that have sold or are for sale. So you open up Zillow, you put in that profile, let's say $60,000 to $90,000 sale price, 5 acres plus, and bang, you hit go and it populates. So we usually move from the west to the east of the part of the country, and you can start to see there's absolutely nothing for sale at that price range, let's say like Los Angeles. And as you move east into eastern Southern California, Nevada, Colorado, you'll start to see properties populate, which is an indication of possible success. That's where people are buying, selling properties according to that profile. And what he's asking here, I appreciate the question, Caesar, and your participation. You're very involved in Land Academy, and I appreciate it. How many properties need to be in a cluster, let's say, or a potential zip code for me to take it seriously? Do I need to see more than 10 for sale, he says, or 20 sold? What are the numbers? And the answer is there is no hard number. And I know that for people like Caesar, and I've said this to him on the Thursday call and everything else, I'm not picking on him in any way. In fact, it's he's providing the questions that I think a lot of people have, and he's got the courage and the intelligence to ask us, and I appreciate it. Many things in this effort or in this business aren't hard numbers. And for personalities like me and for Caesar's, that's hard to digest. I'm a former accountant. I want to find the answer, the financial answer to everything. And we do, which is one of the reasons yesterday Jill brought up us not talking as much. You have to look at it. Let's say you're in Oklahoma and there are more properties populated, let's say, on the eastern part of the state than on the western part of the state. I don't know if this is true, but this is what always happens. And I'm just picking on Oklahoma. It might be Nevada or Delaware. And on the eastern part of the state, there's a lot more properties that fit my profile that I put in, and a lot less properties on the western side, or however it gets split up. I'm going to naturally gravitate where there's more data to where there's more data and analyze it that way. So one of the things that really matters here is not so much the number of properties for sale or sold. What really matters is how many. If I have 8 properties that are actively for sale, and 32 properties that are sold in the last 12 months, yay. If I have 1 property that's active and 2 properties that have been sold, percentages come out great, but that's not a lot, especially if the zip code right next to it or 2 or 3 properties to the east or west of it have populated data and it's all big happy. What this is really doing is smoking out natural supply and demand. So I'm not saying you can't go up to North Dakota or someplace like that where there's just no data at all and smash it out of the park. We have members who do that, and it's usually because they have some information about that state or those area of that state that we don't, like they live there or they grew up there and they know that, oh, geez, it's beautiful over here, but not so much over here. Everybody wants to go fishing up here in July. You can't fish down here. That stuff doesn't come up in data. So there's a very personal, soul-like component to all this that needs to be backed up by data. I can tell that we reached Jill's limit.
So what was the answer to the question? Let me help Caesar. Big picture is more data is better, and those numbers are great. 2 to 1 is awesome. You want to have a healthy, higher sold, right? That I would even argue if I had like 18 to 10, something like that.
Yeah.
It's a hot and moving area, or like think of 80 to 30. That's really what would be nice if you could have stuff like that. So that would be really good.
Today's topic, well, it's Tuesday, and we're on to case study number 2. We're going to talk about one of my favorite members, the professional Canadian couple who flip at least 5 properties per month. So give us some background.
And they have a little baby now. So they've been with us for a couple years. Again, Career Path alumni. And I think it was slow going a little bit for them. It was a little bit of fire hose and then cool, a little bit of hot, a little bit then cool. And then I think they've now found their groove. So, and I hear little things. We see them every other week when we get together with our Land Academy Pro calls. And then I hear about them through my lead transaction coordinator because she does deals for them, closes deals for them. So I'll hear little rumblings like, they just opened X amount of escrows this week. I'm like, yay, that's so good. I love that. So so the couple of things that are really important I want to cover with you today is one, sweet young couple, professional backgrounds before Land Academy, and baby, and doing it from another country and not afraid of it.
Not afraid.
They solved it all.
Yep.
And what's so great about it? They're so helpful. Whenever we get other people into Land Academy that are in Canada or even other countries, they're really sweet to share. Here's how we set up our phones. Here's how we set up our banking. Here's how I set up getting, deeds done. All of that information. They're really sweet and open and happy to share. I don't think have we had them on a show recently? It's probably been some time. We probably need to do another show with them and kind of do a real catch up. I think that would be fun.
Here's why they made my top 5 list here. This is recently, maybe last week, 2 weeks, or last month. There was a deal because in Land Academy Pro, we all meet every other week. And so we get to know each other pretty well. She brought a deal for us to talk about and get our opinion on and just to generally get some advice. And the story went like this. And this is my recollection. So please steer it differently, Jill, if you remember something else. She had a problematic seller. Sometimes sellers they say, yeah, sure, I want to sell a property. And then they might go dark for a while. They might go, I call it going a little schizophrenic. Oh, I do want to sell it, but this has got to happen. So she, like probably all 5 of these examples this week, has this tenacity or this persistence of follow-up to a point of probably a fault. She'll talk to a seller 150 times if that's what it takes to get the deal done without ever blinking an eye. And so she was telling the story. This woman, it's a very complicated deal. I would have walked away from the deal probably 20 minutes into it. And she's now in week 4 or 5.
Wasn't it like a probate or something
Yes.
kind of thing? Yeah.
So some people are dead on the deed.
She's solving it.
She is.
One by one, solving every problem.
They have so much back tax on the property that it's about to be defaulted.
Yeah,
it's at the end of the line, so she's dealing with that. She's having to front money to get the deal done. So that is her personality type, and that's what she's bringing to the land flipping effort. She's neither one of them, nobody this week that we're profiling here, talking about, that thought has never entered their mind that, well, here I am. Now you Jack and Jill, need to get this going for me.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Very much took it upon themselves, and it's great. Like you said, without fear, she'll ask questions and we'll give our, like, here's what we recommend. She's like, okay, got it, done. That's what I'll do. And she goes off and does it. Makes a call, makes it happen, not afraid of anything.
I grew up, my dad bought and sold a lot of real estate when I was as far back as I can remember. I've been around it, and so has Jill. That wasn't in both of our cases, our parents weren't primary, that wasn't their primary source of income, but they were always doing it and always talking about it. And so I'm not sure how that would work in a different country because it's not as prevalent.
Mm-hmm.
So,
maybe in that country too, because I think you know what? I'm curious how much property, in America, right? Depending where you live, you'll have on the same block, every house will change over, 3 times in 10 years. I wonder in Canada, like if they have that much, they don't have as much property as we do, obviously, not as much population. I mean, they have as much land, let's say that, but not as much population as we have. So I'm curious what the average, turnover is there. Not enough that I'm going to look it up. Don't get me.
I know this for sure.
But I don't know.
I know this for sure. Canada is not obligated from a legal standpoint to disclose nationwide the ownership. We're one of the only countries, if not the only country in the entire world, that for whatever reason our founding fathers institutionalized that whoever owns real estate, you can look it up and find out. It's it's open source.
Yeah.
So that's just amazing to me. And it's 2024, 25 now, and we can send out a letter and see if they want to sell it. There's just no other place in the world that you can do that. So they had to relearn. My point is, whatever real estate system they have there, it's not too far different from ours. They really had to relearn all kinds of things. How we buy and sell real estate, what the tax implications are, and a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
Join us tomorrow where we discuss case study number 3, a global pharmaceutical brand manager that turned land investor and eventually retired her husband a couple of years ago, actually. She's been with us from the beginning. You are not alone in your real estate ambition.
We are Jack and Jill.
Information
and inspiration
to buy undervalued property.
We hope you find our content valuable and we appreciate your support. If you have not already, please check out our channel and hit the subscribe button.
And your comments and suggestions help us to create the content you're here for. Hitting the like button helps to support our channel's algorithm and gauge your interest for future shows.